students, get her experience, you know. So she is supposed to be helping FCAM. I mean, the work is not official yet because of the MCO, but after this, she will be helping us in making our curriculum and teaching more industry based. Oh, she's in
She's
here.
in. She's in. She's already in. Hi, Madam Doris. Hello, Madam.
Does she know that she's in?
I think so. Wait, let me text her. Okay, done. Hello, Madam. Waiting for Madam Doris.
Okay.
She left the meeting. Wait.
Madam,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Neil Estavillo is going to join also, eh?
His session will be tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Time.
30th September. September pula. April.
Laju
She's
September.
She said she will be in a minute. Madam Doris.
Is she in?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. She's trying to get in.
I'm just looking at who's in. Quite a good turnout.
Mm.
I mean, you know, outside of your students, quite a good turnout. Are you recording this session?
Yes. I'm recording. Waiting for Madam Doris.
I'm gonna mute, so the floor is yours.
Okay. All right, doctor. Thank you. Okay, Madam Doris is in. You want to say something, doctor? To Madam Doris? Hi, Madam. You can unmute your microphone, Madam.
Well, thank you for the introduction and a very good morning to everybody. Right, I'm apologies because I'm not a native on this IT, and so there's been off and on. But thank you, Dr. Nisa and Safrina for helping me out in this webinar.
Yeah. Thank you for for your willingness to do this for the students and to spend time. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Terima kasih. Well, I'd like to explore the role of PR in these pandemic times. And I would like a lot of questions from everyone because in my 30 years of practice, this particular crisis is the really mother of them all, you know. We've been able to do product recalls. We've been involved in SARS, in MERS, in JE, but this one really beats everything else. So I think it's a good time that now that with the lockdown and the time for reflection, for us to look at what we can do from a PR point of view and be of useful contribution towards society. I like to look at it first from a macro point of view. In public relations, at least at the corporate level where we do some work with, we are looking at what we call the PESTEL analysis, PESTEL analysis, a kind of macro concept that talks about politics, economics, social, technology, the environment, and the legal perspective. And these are touch points in which we would put our PR lens to see how the environmental scanning exercise analysis would be. So I like to explore that in PR as a change catalyst, how we would contribute in terms of a professional basis and an individual basis. Now, I did this a long time. I'm sorry. You see, I'm not an IT, so IT literate, but Safina is helping me. Safina, can you just move the section on the PR roles there? Or the
PR role.
Boleh? I don't need to go through all these chalk talks in which we have been doing. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how to extract that particular page. Boleh tak?
Okay, boleh,
Yes.
No problem.
Oh, this is it. A starting point. I just wanted that particular slide. Well, we did this in the last problem with uncertain times. We are still facing uncertain times.
Yeah.
And
is this the one, Madam Doris?
Yes. No. Can I go down to that particular? There are about 7, but I just want to go down to the 20.
Is this?
Boleh tak? Tak boleh masuk. Oh, you want to go one by one? No. I just want that particular slide.
Next page.
This one?
Bukan?
The public relation roles?
Yes.
We can't see it.
Okay.
Sabrina, we can't see it from the screen.
Oh, okay. Wait.
I can't even see.
Wait, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Next time I must do something faster. Boleh.
Yeah, boleh.
Well, so we shall explore from the professional basis, and then kalau boleh.
Is this the one, Madam Doris?
Yes. Okay. Right. Now, in our role, this is from Hunt and Dossier. We have 4 roles that we could play now as a public relations professional. I mean, there's the communication technician. I'll just go, you can see all the 4. As a communication technician, there's been a call for digital specialists, like some of you, in which you would come up with documentaries, with press releases, with all the instruments, tactical instruments, which a technician is able to generate through press conferences, to stimulate and as well as communicate the importance of social distancing in a very fun way. Okay, so that's when an area in which you could contribute, and we could talk from the point of helping the government, of being an NGO, or being your own self, because you yourself are a personal brand in which you could contribute in that area. And we can talk further about it in your role in stemming fake news. So much fake news, so much misinformation. I mean, you are a consumer of digital and mainstream media, in which you should call out to anyone, politicians, even the public at large, if they're even a certain president. I mean, giving his views on disinfectant and all that. So the technician role is very important, because you are generating the tactical tools, and you're able to simulate using your skills to this information or misinformation that's going out. Now, as a problem-solving process facilitator, I called it, or mediator, we do this for corporations. So suddenly, certain corporations whose reputation is being attacked, or perhaps some of you may know, like Tenaga is under pressure to reduce its electrical charges simply because the price of oil has gone down. But it's not so simple, so yeah, companies are then doing a lot of CSR, like SP Satir, to come forward as to within the organization, within the staff, to do something and contribute something in terms of PPE, protective gear. Some of them have initiated food aid and so forth. As a communication facilitator, I mean, you can also facilitate, like we do in our NGO role. I mean, some of you may know I'm with the Suroptimist movement, where we would facilitate with other NGOs. I'm a 67-year-old, I can't get out, but I can do some crowdfunding. We can mobilize resources. We've done the YMCA girls to go and start sewing, PPE, and also to do some food aid, because some of us have networks in cafes, in food. That's how we mobilize. And of course, as a PR counselor and expert prescriber, which we hope many of us will do, but I leave that to the government because that's in the hands of the National Security Council. But I mean, if they have asked for some help, in IPRM, we are involved in this as in a project, a superheroes project to honor our frontliners. Okay, so we cannot just be a bystander. I mean, we either have to be a change catalyst or and do something about it. Okay, that's done. So I'm interested in the time now that you have, that you do what I call future-proof your future, because it is such a unstable future, I'm sorry to say, a reality bite, that we need to arm ourselves with what I call KSAs, it's the knowledge, skills, and your attitude. Because in the current moment, we need, very good, Dr. Nurul, we need to do that. And that follows what I like to show. If there's an image of ECOPSP, you could show it.
Yeah.
ECOPSP is actually the European Communication Professional Skills and Innovation study that maps out the skills and knowledge gaps that you need to build upon so that you develop competency and capability. So it's just not knowledge, because public relations, well, we can do the tree of competency. Okay, come.
Okay.
Tree of competency. I think your lecturers and you must work very hard to make sure that when the MCO is lifted and when the economy is restarted in so many ways, that you are equipped with these competency and capability skills that are shown in that tree. Well, you can delve, I mean, you can go and Google it and do a little bit more. So on the professional, oh, you've left the meeting, okay. So you need to make sure that you are competent, and you can see writing, for instance, is a very poor skill of many public relations practitioners, and that is a desired skill that you must have. And yet, we don't seem to be putting a lot of emphasis. We put a lot of emphasis maybe, on knowledge, but haven't put the applied sense to make sure that you can do it. Okay. So right now we are all COVID-19 experts, right? And
Yeah.
and so everybody can learn. Everybody can learn. Yeah. And this is where, yeah. Well, and please, if you like to talk, you go on. I like to have an interactive thing, because I'm not used to this either. Because I like to see that we have FaceTime and people can put in their ways. So your creative skills must come into play, because I feel that you yourself are a brand, and this is a time to build your brand with your creative skills, with showcasing your ability to have the knowledge, impress people with your output, your PR output, in terms of the videos you generate, in terms of the social media postings you do to show that you're a matured, very knowledgeable, as well as the right skill sets that we could talk about. Yeah. So I would like, to you all to really be big social media digital specialists, because this is where the future is going to be, to make sure that you put on the agenda setting theories to good use, call out the fake news, be totally involved in CSR projects for corporations, what I call the do-gooders, and genuine do-gooders, so that you can put that on your resume, and also showcase, I've done this, I've been part of a collaborative group that has done a social media awareness to raise the importance of social distancing, or perhaps making a behavioral change towards how we shall have to behave post MCO. So therefore, you can never be idle. Huh?
Yes.
Can anyone else say anything else? During this time, I think you have to reflect about the future as people are talking about becoming entrepreneurial. And I've met a few students actually who have set up an online kids school. And there's a big waiting line on it because there's going to be more homeschooling. There's going to be more classes, e-education conducted out of it. And that could be a business for the future. And that's where PR is, because you're able to do a macro environmental scanning, at the same time fulfill a societal need that fills up what we need in the society. Can anyone else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, good. I'm just gonna add a few things. First, I completely agree and I get your point. Safrina, we can't see the tree though. I think what
Wait.
Safrina is looking, we're not looking.
Wait.
Well,
But the stories before I leave because my son has the e school kindergarten right now, right?
okay, yeah, I understand that.
But,
Okay.
I'm just gonna say a few things. You mentioned about self-branding and using PR with a what do you call this PR to micro and analyze what people want, what in a sense of what people need though actually, because right now I believe that most students, they don't want full online class. They would prefer physical class, but that's not what they need at this point, because obviously we can't have all that. So hence things are now goes more digital, everything's are run online, etc., etc. So having said that, as the com or the PR side is to actually publicize that we are now really fully on digital. We are now really going, online class and so on and so forth. But in real truth, what I look forward for this to happen is that after this MCO lifted, all the lecturers and I believe even all the students were actually going to be even more skillful. They are learning new technologies. They are learning new skills, and then learning new culture. And it's not easy for the lecturers, and I believe it's not easy adjustment for the students either. But but in a PR point of view, when the comp team are preparing their materials, everything seems to be positive. Everything seems to be, we are digital, we can do this and stuff like that. But there's a struggle behind there that I can that lecturers and the students are facing. But having once this whole situation has ended, I feel like it will then match with what the PR has been promoting. The com has been promoting. It will match that, the lecturers are then skillful with technology, and the students are now very much, embrace the technology. So I feel there's a relation between the PR efforts and also the what is needed rather than what is wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a need to recognize reality bites that jobs are going to be now in a gig economy, which means, say, you will be given jobs only on a project basis with a lot of collaboration. Companies, that we've talked to, they are restructuring their operations to keep headcount low and permanent jobs even lower. So you'll be judged by productivity. We're trying to work on a basis of collaborating with many partners, which is why stakeholder management is so important. Learning to work and getting an output out of it. So the output could be, for instance, we are repositioning Top Glove, for instance. I think that's one of the few companies in Malaysia that's making money when a lot of others are losing money, right?
Yeah.
But how to position them well so that the brand is trusted for the products that they produce at an economical cost. Again, you want good products, but you need economical costs and in a speed that is required for the world. So healthcare seems to be an area where there's plenty of scope for it, relative to perhaps luxury brands or the suffering hospitality trade that's currently currently suffering a lot now. So,
Okay, so I'll leave it up to the students to start, take this opportunity to ask questions, and thank you once again, Doris. Sorry
Thank you.
that I have to leave, but
no,
thank you so
no
much.
problem.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Ya, terima kasih. Yes. Can I? Yes.
Yes, Madam Doris, you want to change?
No, I don't want to change at all. I'm just saying, so we have to build a particular, your brand right now, because during this time, and to make sure that you are competent. You see, okay, whether you can see all these things, but strategic thinking is something that we want something for you to think about. You need to know the organizational culture, whether you're going to run your own firm or perhaps even work for a client as a consultant, a junior consultant in the company to do forths and work. There must be, of course, this planning ability. So because public relations, after all, the pillars of PR are what? Reputation management. You are building relationships, mengeratkan perhubungan, which other professions don't think about doing it, but you are, and earning trust and credibility. So you won't be doing things which will spoil the reputation. And like the Edelman's Trust Barometer, you have a job in order to make sure that people have the right perception, they have the right information at hand, and to act accordingly to the situation that is needed, whether you are protecting the reputation of the government, the country, or an NGO that you're representing, or you're representing yourself as a personal brand. Like I consider myself a social activist, in which I have packed subjects like women gender equality, pushing for lesser domestic violence, which are topics close to me, and therefore you use those causes to also reflect your deep passion and need and your sincerity and integrity in pursuing these subject matters, which also helps in your personal branding of who you are, what you're capable of doing, and therefore it's good on your overall credentials when you meet people out there, to expand your network, to also work with your clients, your fellow colleagues, and everybody else that's needed to get a job done. Yes, Safina. Yeah.
Okay. So you want to change to which slide, Madam?
Can we have the 16 practice areas? I think it's one of the further down, 16 practice areas of PR in the same.
In the same slide.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, wait there.
You see, frightens me. I'm sorry.
Okay, done.
Ada?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see?
I can't see, but
Okay, wait, let me
I'm so
share it
sorry.
again. It's okay.
I'm still grappling with this. I don't know, share screen things. Yeah, but I need a lesson from all of you.
Can you see it now?
No, I can't. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Now, because I'm representing IPRM, Institute of Public Relations Malaysia, in this particular webinar that we're talking about, I just want to highlight to lecturers and students here, we have quite easily talk about practice areas, and we have about 16. Actually, there are a lot more, but I think for convenience, 16 will do. You are very familiar with media relations, I'm sure, and corporate communications. Increasingly important, and this is where you could put a niche to it, is financial PR or investor relations, because I noticed that some of the curriculums in some of the universities and all have actually less on this area. But you need business literacy, I'm sorry to say. You need to represent public listed companies and the whole nation in terms of positioning Malaysia in the investing community. And so if you have got a little bit of business literacy, introduce in investor relations, financial PR in your curriculum, you would have a better understanding of the macroeconomics and the political dimensions, which I mentioned in pastel very lightly just now, to understand, why are people putting money here, taking money out. Our bursa is heavily is down, as which most stock markets and so forth. That's a very big area in government PR, as you know. Public relations, half of the public relations budgets actually are used for government PR. And from the public sector itself is the lobbying. Like we would NGO lobby for gender equality. Maybe the plantation people now might want to lobby for foreign workers to work in their plantations because Malaysians don't want to work there. So lobbying is a good and bad thing, but it is a PR speciality that requires a lot of content and work. Public affairs, of course, regulatory. We are regulated in many respects. Tolls, your electricity, your phone charges and so forth fall into this area. Water. So that's a specialized area that I think students must know that actually where you can play with, not play with, but you must be acquainted with so that you could build your skills into that. Now, issues management, of course, I think that's kind of, and we are now in crisis communication, I think very clearly.
Yes.
At the same time, we are actually very globalized, and so international PR is important too, and that's where you can see Top Glove, Nestle, how they would mobilize their corporate comm and their PR in order to weather through this particular pandemic, through this crisis thing. Employee communication is very important. As you know, people say that the employees are your true assets because they're going to generate productivity and output in terms of products. So that we are doing that in this pandemic, trying to keep each other motivated and still, doing the work that we do. There's an area of minority multicultural affairs which will still operate probably post MCO, where you could look into the minority. Right now, our B40 are being, given due credit, and we should do that. Change management is what we are going through right now. I think you find that CEOs will have to restructure differently, be paid differently. Work systems are going to be different. We also just had a change in a government also, so that's an area of special interest. Stakeholder management, as you say, managing the expectations as well as managing different resources that you have to deal with different people's expectations is part of stakeholder management. And that still continues because you need to, do I give into this or do I go strong on something else? So that's a balancing ball, so to speak. CSR or corporate relations is still ongoing. Some companies are, of course, they have not much money left, because they are struggling to stay alive. But some have gone beyond, expectations and, gone ahead and do some CSR during this time where the marginalized groups, the B40 groups, the most vulnerable groups are, have to be helped. Okay, sponsorship and corporate philanthropy, I we leave that to Bill Gates and all for the moment, but that's an area which actually foundations and all have been doing, and I think Said Al-Bukhari is helping out in our superheroes project. We need this. So it's kind of like a payback also, and something that they want to do. Marcom is, of course, suffering right now because we're all grappling with food chains which are disrupted, brands that have suffered because now there's no sales. Retail is down, but there's still an area where I have hope that it will pick up after that, after this MCO. And events management. So what I'm trying to show that while these are practice areas, they are specialized in terms of their tactical tools, their objectives, but there's growing concern that if you look at this on the right side, besides media relations, which everybody knows PR is all about, these other areas are quite neglected. So we have to kind of build our body of knowledge and show our expertise in these areas, how we help the dominant coalition to help them, in their vision and mission to deal with the challenging issues that crop up in any of these areas. So this is the time to do more case study books. We have a lot of public relations case studies. This is the time to improve our knowledge and also to go through certain, because you're going to talk to the dominant coalition further on. I mean, whoever the decision makers are on the same level, and they're talking like this. They're not talking about, oh, what's my audience? Oh, well, what do I get from this publicity blitz? Because you're going to talk the language that they are going to talk. And so these practice areas help you to focus and narrow in on the areas in which you could later on be right now, when you start off, you are a generalist, basically media relations and all that. But as you go further up your career continuum, and even now as you read you could apply some of these principles back into which of these other areas. So a big company like Nestle, for instance, has all of these, in fact. A smaller SME, for instance, Julie Biscuits might only do maybe a few of this. But what I'm trying to say, the spectrum of knowledge and the application areas are something that you need to pick up, and you can apply it in anywhere, whether you work for a small company, a very large one, or you run your own PR or social enterprise. I mean, these are applicable areas. Okay? Right. Anyone wants to add anything?
Any question from the floor, guys, students?
Yeah, it's funny that I'm just talking and not.
All right.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes,
right.
Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am
Sarah.
a professional communication student. So recently I read an article in America, a company called Sephora. So they laid off they fired their employees, 3,000 employees through conference call. So which I believe it's a bad way to lay off your company. So I have a question. How should companies tackle this kind of issues? Or how can they lay off their employees in the proper way?
Okay, thank you. Well, I've done that quite a fair bit, I must say. I myself at Art Anderson, we had to lay off our people because of a merger and acquisition. There is too many heads. I've been involved in a few banking mergers and acquisition also, where we have to lay off. I think, first of all, we have to realize we are living in a capitalist society.
That's true.
Okay, we are not a socialist. In the global arena, the capitalists rule. So if you find that there is too many overheads, you find that there is non-productive practices.
Yes.
Okay, whether it's in terms of staff employment, like our over-bloated cabinet or over-bloated civil service.
Yes.
In the corporate world, I'm afraid it is very, very stringent because of the accountability to stakeholders like shareholders, the shareholders mainly, to the who owns the company actually. Okay, Qantas is laying off 10,000 people. Okay, the airline companies, I think, will go through a major restructuring. Okay, our banks, as we go digital, I'm sorry, the frontliners in the bank, which is the tellers and so forth, will need to go through a major retrenchment. You ask about how to do it. Okay, some companies have, if they are PR trained or PR advised and they listen to the advice, we do it through in a structured manner. First of all, we are very transparent. We say the company is going through bad times. Okay? Our first cut, after talking to our bankers, talking to our shareholders, is maybe a cut of 3,000 people. Okay, and we have to do this first wave, and of course.
So it means that you have to do it phase by phase, right?
Advanced messaging so that the expectations are in. I mean, and we have to be honest about this, really, because we can't keep them at the rate that we can't. So first thing is, okay, that's retrenchment. The first thing we can also do, can we all take a 50% cut? Yes, let's be honest about it. I mean, if the companies are not having cash inflow, cash revenue, how are they going to pay? And we are all working from home, and our productivity from home, I'm sorry, certain lines are not evident. I mean, we need to be selling products. We need to be out on the field. So
Yes.
okay. So if they're PR trained, we prime them. We tell them very honestly, okay, this is our structured plan. We're going to have a first wave of 3,000 people out. So normally we have the last in, first out. I mean, if we do that in the HR department and so forth. Otherwise, it's a very cruel, it's not cruel, it's reality. Actually, I don't say it's cruel because, nobody owes you a living, you get a living out of what you serve and what you produce. So we're honest and upfront. And for some, like in the banking area, the banks that we do some outplacement. But now with this pandemic, there's no time for outplacement and so forth because everybody's suffering now. The last time when we did for a particular bank, we could outplace them to some admin job somewhere, or maybe everybody wants to be in Kuala Lumpur. No, we have to put you in Kelantan and all the other areas where the resource level is lower and things like that. But now with the pandemic, I wouldn't want to go. Everyone stay put here. I mean, there's just not enough time to structure a proper plan. So the Americans and I must say the Western type of organizations are very, very, you may call it cruel, but I think they're just being, they take the cut immediately. No need, it's like a cancer. You can't bleed. You don't want to bleed. You just cut off the amputate one portion first, and then then you go on. This is how restructuring is anyway. And as we move to more digital, obviously, people with staff who don't seem to be able to, cruelly, they might be not so productive or considered not essential. They just have to go.
See.
And I mean, because I mean, our I'm sorry, I just talked about civil service because somebody just sent me some stuff. There are 1.6 million civil servants, and their pension and all is 84 billion, which can be used for development and doing, and we call it in economics, reallocated to other more productive areas. So this is a time whereby, all this thinking the mindsets are changed, and we have to look at how things are, and therefore, make some cruel cuts. Obviously it's cruel. It's actually reality because you can't survive. Companies can't survive. Corporations can't survive. Corporations pay 24% taxes. How they can do? No revenue, no cash flow. They can't borrow from the banks because the banks, will charge you 8%. I mean, and we're not making money. How do we keep all these staff count and all that? So Boeing also, so major companies all over the world. Boeing, the banking sector, the insurance sector, the retail sectors. In fact, I think there's a list of about 20. The tourism sector, all will have to relook at how they are how they will operate post MCO. In fact, now they're looking at things. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any question, guys?
No questions.
I think
yes.
Jumping back to Sarah's question about laying off people, won't it bode really badly to those companies because these people might be talking badly about them? So on a PR perspective, how do you control that?
Okay, we've had, as I said, my experience before was not in this pandemic, but a lot of mergers and acquisitions and a lot of downsizing. No, you have no choice. People would talk on the social media. Oh, this company XYZ is so bad. They didn't pay me 2.5, months of my salary and so forth. But I think right now the sentiment is such that everybody will have to downsize. It's the survival of the fittest and the quickest. The quickest to really act in line with good business practices. or good practices that will sustain us into the future. We have to bear it. I mean, we're not politicians, so I'm not talking about politicians' point of view. There's no need to be popular or to have social media likes of $1 million. We're not celebrities either. This is the reality. We have to do the cuts. We have to restructure. We have to have a new team or a co-opted team to come back again to help us manage into the future. We are talking about the future, not the current. And the past is, of course, gone already. I mean, we've made so many mistakes. Now to learn and to move forward with a leaner, more structured, more effective, more efficient processes that will help us gain our placing and positioning in the business community, in the League of Nations, and so forth. I mean, we are battling nationwide among the countries who will recover fast and who will be the first and more profitable to really do it quickly, so that you become stronger, financially stronger on a human side. I mean, with the right strength of team of employees and middle management and top management to move forward. Okay. Anyone else like to add on that? Or perhaps we talk about. So this is where the PR leadership to me matters, and you should be able to, with your persuasive skills and your influencer role, to me, where you are able to see the macro picture, and now you are going to go micro, because I've already pointed out the practice areas you could look into. You now assess the world at large, and perhaps look into how you could set up, as you say, your online schools. And I'm so shocked. I mean, this millennial required our help to set up, and she's got classes lined back to back. Children as young as 2 years old. Because parents soon will have to go to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you then occupy them, because you don't want them to. An idle mind to me is a devil's workshop. So to keep stress-free and all that, you have to think about games and fun education to keep young kids very occupied. We talked with Seksan, a particular friend, and he's talking about doing gardening in balconies. So that's also a business enterprise that's looked upon. So in PR, how we promote these particular ideas. I mean, the idea of being a full-time working in in an organization, probably now we have to change and talk about doing only on project basis, and as you say, in a gig economy. Yeah.
Any more questions, guys?
Good.
I have one more question. Well, it's more of like I want to hear your perspective on this.
Yes.
Moving forward, like digitally, I think it has somehow obliterated our work-life balance, right?
Yes.
So how do you move more forward after you already opened this door where like everybody can just like digitally contact you 24/7?
Okay, I mean, I tell you, this is a problem, because when I worked in Art Anderson, and that was in the 1980s, 80s, well, I can't remember 80 what, we were already on a global basis. I could get calls from New York, as much as we are doing things, in our Malaysian time, which is 12 hours away and all that. I think work balance is a misnomer to me. Because talking about this MCO, okay, just talking about this MCO myself, I mean, I've been hearing about my friends, in the corporate world, they're actually working longer hours than they were in the structured hours in the office, right? So to me, you have to accept that it is a misnomer, because you're on a project basis. You have to work according to the needs. Unless you run your own company, there is no way we're all going to be slaves of a structure. I wouldn't like to use it slave. I mean, we have to accept the fact that, we are on call to serve our clients, to serve our bosses, to serve the cause at any time. And the world is now running on global time. Not on your time. Right? But of course, now as you say, Zoom and all this, I just did Zoom yesterday, okay, but we can say, okay, let's manage a time when everybody can do it. And then we have to have a certain amount of trust, which I'm afraid many employers here don't have, on the staff will work during, when they're not being seen or being surveyed in the office, that do your productive self, contribute to the overall project or campaign or whatever you're doing. So this work-life balance, I think you have to learn to manage it. There's no right answer. I mean, my personal experience is, some of you may not know, but I have had to run a handicapped school because my first son was a cerebral palsy. I was in a consultancy called Ogilvy, and those are about like 10-hour work days. If you just have to learn to manage. I'm sorry, you will build a network of people who can help you. There's some down days. I put 100% on my work, and maybe maybe another 10% on my domestic things, because I'm trying to keep that in balance. Otherwise, I'll be a dead duck, man. Okay. Anyway, that is okay. Please go and Google Pareto principle at your own time. In management, we use this whereby we say that 20% is for your own time and personal development, and 80% is meant for actual work and projects. So that's kind of, they've done some studies. So this 80-20 rule does work quite well. I mean, so it's managing how you can put in a 40-hour work week, maybe 60 hours now and maybe cut back 20 hours. This is all a case of finding the right balance with your employers, with your co-partners, your collaborators, but I still feel that it is a bit of a misnomer, because someone passionate about the work like me would put in more hours for work than I would on cooking. I sorry girls, I don't cook. And I'm not picking up cooking. Yes, I'm kind and I love to cook, but things like that. So especially ladies and guys. Now guys, we must take 50% of their workload. Okay, you just have to learn to manage now, because you're not gonna have mates to help you. Some of us don't have what do you call this, external help from the kampung or what to give us that additional help. So we need to put our kids in good childcare centers, and while we manage our work, and the work balance is to be okay. A misnomer. Just learn to find a way to balance it out.
Okay.
Like you mentioned kids as well. Like, how do people like cope when they have to work like extra hours and then they have kids at home where they couldn't send to like child services?
See, so that's why you've got. See, I've closed my door here simply because I don't want. I'm in my library, by the way, so that's my haven. No, nobody can disturb me, and I turn off my handphone. Okay, that's a very, very irritable distraction, so that I could sit down and talk to you, or perhaps write and do some writing. You somehow you have to find the right balance your own way. There's no template, so to speak. Though I did speak of Pareto principle. You just have to do it. People like us, what do I do? Okay, I'll just tell you. Okay, my early days, my corporate life, it still is, but maybe lesser now. I put the kids to sleep. Okay, and then I do my proposals at night. So I'm a very late night bird, and those days. And I must tell you, Netflix is a new thing. I never watch Netflix. I do not watch RTM and all this, because I'm busy knocking off a proposal for a client, so that by 10 o'clock next morning, it's on the table. I want to keep my job, as well as at the same time. I can't. I have to put my personal preferences in view of the workload, and because there are other people who are waiting for that proposal to act on it and things like that. So you have to see that this is a collaborative thing. It's not a me thing. It's for everybody. And so you have to do your part, and of course I free cut over the weekends. Yeah, so I try my Saturdays and Sundays to be my own time, but actually that's not even a right time. Events those days are conducted on weekends. I do my NGO work to go and see Kuala Lumpur Baru, orang asli or whatever at weekends. So a check and balance, I suppose, for your own self. There's no right answer, wrong answer, but Pareto's principle is a good management tool. Maybe look deeply into it and see how you can apply it in your own life,
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any question, guys? We have Prof. Kiran here to
Oh,
join us, Miss Madam Doris.
okay. Hold on.
Hi, I just joined in at another board meeting earlier. No problem. I do not know what was discussed earlier, but I wanted to. I'll be coming in another time.
Mm.
So I thought, why not let me just check in and see what's going on.
Hi,
So this will
Prof.
be the group I'll be talking. Hi. So this will be the group I'll be talking to next week.
Yes, yes.
That's great.
Next week. Yeah.
Do they have any suggestion on a topic they want to listen to?
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
somebody can share.
Let me ask the students later.
Yeah.
Because I have class with them later. Maybe we can discuss and give
That's,
it to you. Yeah.
that's great.
But the fake news is interesting topic.
All right, maybe we can bring that in on
Yeah.
the fake news and
Yes.
misinformation.
Because
Why
Madam
not we
Doris
do that?
mentioned about fake news.
Mention about what? Sorry, I missed that.
Fake-
Yeah.
Fake news about fake news
Yeah.
in
Okay.
this pandemic time.
So, Farina, then let's make that our topic for next week.
Okay.
And
All right.
work on misinformation, disinformation.
Okay. All right. Noted.
Right? That's great.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Prof.
Okay. So are there any other questions? So basically the corporates are actually struggling, to be honest with you. They try, I mean, you hear cases, I mean, this morning about all the companies downsizing. I like to also share that the news that I got from the statistics department is about 2 million people will be unemployed post MCO. So
Yes.
that will be something that we like to look at, upskilling yourself, reskilling, and maybe like me in the early days, humble pie, we take any job that comes and do it, because better to do something, as I said, an idle mind's a devil's workshop. So if you're doing something, you're doing something right, doing something, it brings in a sense of purpose. It gives you the motivation and some money, perhaps. If there's no money, even do it for your own time. Now, I want to actually talk about young people actually using PR skills to build interest for the agricultural scene. And in today's papers, you could talk about demand for Harum Manis mango, which is one of my favorite mangoes. Okay, you find it in the Star. And I have had, because of my work in an NGO called Optimist, we've actually had a kambing project in Janda Baik,
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I was
Interesting.
getting young volunteers to actually come and be interested in making this a business. And in doing so, I actually met a graduate farmer
Mhm.
in Kedah.
Oh,
And he rears goats, the same. So he recommended to me the goats that I need to use for Janda Baik will be Janapari with a Boer mix. And because goats, I do Australian meat and livestock before. I mean, we bring the mutton and all from Australia, right?
mhm.
Here, you're supplying local goats. And local goats, if you go to the market, it costs about $38 a kilo. So he was supplying local goats. And he's a graduate farmer and he's living a better life than me with more money, healthier. And he keeps really in a very structured form his goats. So he has the marketing acumen. He has applied the marketing area. He has fulfilled the need for goats that so that we local goats, we should take local goats, kambing actually, kambing, not sheep. And it's made into a business. So this guy, the Harum Manis guy, says he can make a profit of 100,000 in 1 year with a plot of land, and he does it with 2 tons of Harum Manis, okay, and 20 kg of mangoes per day. So I think young people must not think about just working in the office and fubbing and having the social
The
media.
glamour in the glamour world.
I would rather be like him with more money, living a healthier life, less polluted air, and and then I have my trills coming to Alostar, or wherever, or Penang, or flying when the flying can be my own time.
True.
So, and I also want to share with you also this thing about my friends in Singapore. They have an organic farm. A group of them is a community garden in organic farm in Johor. So they plant vegetables, and also they come on the weekends. Of course, they've got some workers to manage the farms, and they're all people, doctors, lawyers, ordinary people who believe in eating healthy vegetables, and living healthy with sweet potatoes and things like that. It's a community, and they are based in Johor, and the Singaporeans come in. And they come in and they rank goats, and they have a whole integrated system, which we call permaculture, to not only grow, because they've had problems with cancer and health issues. So they apply the skills, their professional skills, to do this, to get the funding, to manage it, and then to market the products, because they take themselves, and so of course they'll always be extra, and they market the rest to the Singapore market, and therefore are healthier. They put in investments, and this is like out of the mind. And these are people who are so-called in other jobs, because they found this more fulfilling, to take their kids to a farm, an organic farm. So I think opportunities are a lot for us to contribute in many ways. I mean, when you find the opportunity, so I think the world is yours now to think about how you can do what you can do. Whether you're sewing PPE kits for the frontliners, or even growing, taking up gardening. Balcony gardening is getting fashionable now, since some of us are living in condos. So the world is really an open plate now, because nothing is written in stone.
Yeah. Okay. We have one last question from the students. Students, do you have any question from Madam Doris? Reaching our last question. Guys, do you have any question? Jen, Alma, any question, guys? Okay, no question.
Yeah, that's very good. I hope it's a good sharing. Actually, usual from doing things. Yeah, but good. I think to close this, I think in the closing, I think we have to membina semangat for all of us. Keep motivated. Do a lot of sharing, and find out how we can contribute, because I think we all will find our ways of helping society go back to the new normal.
Yes, true.
Safina and everyone, thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Doris, for your time here today with sharing session with us, FCAM digital campaign. Next week we have another one with Prof. Kiranjit. Thank you so much, Madam, for your time today, and you shared so many stories, theories, life experience to all of us. Thank you so much, Madam. I think that's it for our FCAM webinar digital campaign. Thank you so much, students, join in for today. It's a very good input for all of us, Madam Doris. We hope to see you soon after the MCO ended in the office.
Oh, we'll have
we can work out something together for CSR.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye, guys.
How do you exit this?
Exit. You just exit the X button.
You see, I'm not used to this particular hangout. Okay, I'm used to
Zoom. Yeah. It's okay.
Bye. Okay. Bye.
I hope you can join us next week as well, Madam.
Yeah, we could see. I love Kiran's area. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you, guys, for joining in. The video I will post it later for your input for Koku 1 and Koku 2 students. Later you can get the details, Madam Doris detail from Zuzu. Okay? And also Arif for semester 1. Thank you. See you guys next week. We have another one, the fourth one, with Prof. Kiranjit.
Okay, baik.
About fake news. And also you need to ask question. Okay? Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.